Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SurgeCast. Guys, it's hockey season. We're back less than a month, and our boys are back on the ice. How are we feeling, Zach, Rich? It's good to be back, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's always going to be back. Talking hockey, specifically Hurricanes, and got a lot of stuff to talk about. And the Hurricanes been kind of busy the last couple weeks, so ready and excited to jump into all of this. Rich, how are you doing tonight, brother?
Doing good. You got a little bit of that fall weather in the air, football season, which also means hockey season right around the corner.
Yes, sir. Kat, how are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Same, honestly, exactly the same. A little bit of Christmas in the air. You get more, you just feel the preseason is coming up. So and once preseason is done, you've got the regular season. You're getting more and more announcements from the Canes, knowing that summer is done, and it just feels like we made it. Like summer was fun, but I mean, hockey season is always extra fun for me.
Oh yeah, it's hockey. Yeah, no, like we get that crisp, we get that fall weather is back. You get the aesthetics, the drinks, the hockey's back. Yeah, it's the perfect time of year. It's like, yeah, winter's great, but fall time for me is always the best. So definitely ready for some fall and some hockey.
Yeah, and I do have to do a little plug because it felt even more like hockey season because one of our favorite Canes bartenders, he does trivia night over at Brew's Public House on Monday nights whenever Lenovo's not doing an event. So we got to do that recently, and just seeing him just was like, oh, we're about to see him, and the Canes got their eyes, and we're all going to be yelling and cheering. It just felt really good. So go check it out for sure on Monday nights. If anyone's interested in trivia, it's very fun. Our boy Anthony, best bartender for the Canes, of course. But we'll go ahead and get right into all the things we got to discuss because there's, like you said, there's been a lot going on. We got some new jerseys, boys.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, you kind of almost saw it through the tea leaves and the Easter eggs of like you kind of saw it's like what are they going to look like because we know there's like oh they're going to do jerseys like all right cool. Then you saw the teaser start coming out. You're like okay, we kind of see where the vibe is going with this, and you know you kind of had a feeling it was going to be some road versions of the Stadium Series, and they are exactly that. And I know we're going to go into more detail about these, but honestly, just the video team and just the whole Hurricanes staff that did the work behind the scenes of this, adding the band in and all that, absolutely 10 out of 10 video and just a drop of this unveiling. What more can you say about the Hurricanes production team? They keep killing it every single time. And these jerseys, to me, absolutely fantastic. But I know we'll talk more about it here in a little bit. But gotta shout out to the production team over at the Canes. Nailed it. 10 out of 10.
It had to have been an insane lift for that entire team, design, production, all of that. Probably tough to keep it under wraps a little bit for the past month or so since recording. So props to everyone for keeping it tight. I didn't hear a word outside of maybe rumblings of, oh, it could be Stadium Series or, oh, maybe they'll keep the secondary or alternate logo and put it on the white. And like that's the only thing you heard like after they announced the jerseys. So props to them for keeping that sealed shut.
Yeah, it's honestly they've put a lot of effort into it with all of of course, the photo shoot with the boys going in, talking about the different features that are on it from on the sleeves, on the Stadium Series numbers. You've got the patches on the shoulders, a lot of throwback to the Stadium Series. I love when other teams said we copy them. Other teams with red, white, and black coloring says we copy them, but really it's like, well, I mean, no, honestly, we're actually copying ourselves. We've just changed the color scheme. But what were your guys' initial thoughts on these? I know there's a little bit of every time there's a jersey, there's a little bit of a controversy with it. So everyone's got some differing opinions here with these. Again, like I said, for a while we read jerseys. Everyone was like, we need to switch it up. All right. So then we get the flags and the black ones, and we're so excited. They look so good that we eventually make them our main ones, and everyone's complaining about those. They complained about our old white jerseys, and now these jerseys are also causing a little bit of a stir. what are your guys' initial thoughts on them?
Honestly, for me, I absolutely love these jerseys. I mean, I love the Stadium Series jerseys when they first dropped. I mean, if everyone's on the YouTube site, Rich has got one behind him. I'm wearing my Stadium Series jersey. I mean, they were fantastic. And these ones, like, if they were going to go and just kind of road switch them, I think they did a great job. And they did, honestly. Like, the logo, if you're on YouTube, we have the whole thing up of what it looks like in the full get up with Slavo. The logo pops off the jersey so much. I mean, on the black jersey, it looked really good, but I think it just pops off the white really well. I like how they kept the striping the same, essentially. They just kind of, like I said, they just made the white version of the jerseys, the numbers on the back are the red, same with the nameplate and stuff like that. And the shoulder patches, I mean, like you had the all blacked out North Carolina flag. This one's red and black. And of course, now they brought they call it the vintage Stormy. Honestly, it's the Stretton Stormy. It's basically what he's doing. But I absolutely love these jerseys. Straight up 10 out of 10. I have no problems with these jerseys. I think they did a fantastic job with them, just making what was already a great jersey back from 23 when we went to the game to now, just a road version of it with a couple small tweaks. I think they killed it, honestly.
I'm still getting used to them. It will take me an adjustment period. Don't call me a hater, because I'm sure by the time the season ends, I've seen the boys on the ice with them. I'll be used to it. I think for me, with the Stadium Series, right? What way am I turning? I can't even tell. The way that the black kind of allows the red to pop, I think is nice, and having it be two colors. I think the three colors are throwing me off a little bit. Again, this is no shade. Like, I think on someone, it's going to look really well. Like, as a fan, the players I'm getting used to. I would have liked to seen just two colors again, like they did the Stadium Series at home, to keep it like white and black. But they wanted to keep that exact crest that they had for the Stadium Series. So that's probably why they incorporated the black into keep it like the Stadium Series, just anything that was that main home black, turn it into the road whites. So it'll take some time to getting used to. That is my 2 cents on the jersey.
Yeah, I could see how some people are like, can we just flip it and just make it the white and red instead of the black and red for them? I kind of like the incorporation of the black and with the 3 colors, just because obviously it makes that logo stand out. But I think it just gives it some dimension compared to the previous whites. I still like the previous white. I mean, of course, that was my jersey that I've got everyone to like sign. That was the easiest one to see everyone's signatures. But I don't know. I think it's different. I think that's a little bit of it, is everyone hypes up all of these versions. Like, you have all this time to be like, okay, we're tired of these jerseys. Like, give me something different. And we have to remember, when other teams have a big change up with their jerseys, a lot of them have been around a lot longer than the Canes. So they have a lot of things to pull from. We can pull from Hartford, and then we start pulling from when the Canes moved here. And I think they've done good, started to incorporate some of the, vintage feel to things, but also being different here and there. But I think it's just always going to be an adjustment period for people, because you build up all these ideas in your head, and then when it shows up, even if it's not exactly what people picture, they're going to have a little bit of something to complain about. I don't mind them. I'm excited to see them. I think it's pretty creative. I do like the use of the black in the hurricane swirl, because that, like, just the black and red, I think actually pops more to me than the normal one with the white. That just feels a little bit more dated compared to this one. But overall, I'm like middle ground. Like, they're not exactly my overall favorites. But they're not bad. I'm excited to see them. And I mean, probably will maybe I just keep collecting them like Thanos's gems. So I'm sure there'll be one in my closet at one point.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, everyone knows, like, it's known that Tom doesn't love these Stadium Series primary logos. The logo, a lot of people liked them too when they first came out. It makes sense why they wanted to do that. And I understand where you're coming from, Rich. Like, some people are like, oh, I just want to do white and red. Well, then you're kind of running into the territory of doing what we did the first time and having a Detroit Red Wing knockoff version of jerseys. If we did the red and white, like, the reverse of the same series, then you almost run into the territory of it just looks like Red Wings jerseys again. So I see where the Hurricanes like, let's keep the look. Everyone liked the black and red. We want to keep that the same. Just make a white version of the jersey and stuff like that. And honestly, like I said, everything pops. The red is more vibrant. The black is there. It's not getting kind of drowned out by just having just all black. With the whites, you're seeing more of that Carolina red. You got the black in there. Everything just pops off a lot more. Like you said, Kat, they're bringing the vintage Stormy back, and everyone loved that logo. And I think they did a good job of putting it on a shoulder. I know some wanted it as a main crest, but then I heard some people mention, well, then it's, I think it was Joe Ovi's talked about it on ONG. Then people have been like, this team isn't serious. Why is it a big Stormy on the front of the jersey? So I see where the Hurricanes went with we're going to throw them on a shoulder, at least incorporate them in some sense, but we're not going to just slap them on the front of the jersey because then you run into that whole nonsense. So overall, I think the Hurricanes did a good job of hitting that knowledge, that throwback to incorporate vintage Stormy, the flag, and all that, and kept what everyone liked from 2023 and threw it on a road version that makes it stand out so well and makes it unique and different. And it's Carolina with a lot of traditions of tailgating, what the Hurricanes mean to the area and stuff like that. I think they did a good job.
Well, a friend of the show, Dan Latorica, he said too that I botched that.
It's Dan Latorica, but you're good, Rich.
Yeah, well, there we go. I never spoke to them.
It's that Chicago accent.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho, Dan, friend of the show, apparently not my friend. He mentioned again before he left his position with the Canes. They talked about doing like the Strut and Stormy, but with a hockey stick. I think you could do that and kind of have a Penguin style logo one day, kind of incorporating skating with stick in hand, vintage Strut and Stormy with a hockey stick. I think that could work if you ever wanted to put Stormy actually on the front of a jersey.
I can see it as a retro kind of jersey. I wouldn't see it as like a main jersey of any sorts. I could see it as like a retro one though, like a throwback.
Or maybe a Winter Classic. If the Hurricanes ever get to a Winter Classic, maybe they go into that direction maybe. So yeah, I could see them kind of doing that as a one-off type of thing, which I know a lot of people would probably easily get that for sure. But
yeah. Overall though, I know that on our socials that we've already asked, hey, what are your initial thoughts of this jersey? But maybe we'll put a poll. We'll just keep gauging where we're at. Because we just like to see what everyone's thinking about it. Obviously, we all have differing opinions. I think the three of us all like the warning flags black one the most. I think that's all our favorites. Is that right? That's our number one.
Of the three, yeah. Even though there is no brand identity with the Canes, because all three jerseys are completely different, I do like the black ones.
I mean, I think the black ones are great. I do like the red ones a lot because I'm just so used to the Hurricanes being like their Reds being their main homes and stuff like that. Of course, the logo and stuff.
I associate that with the just older. It just feels older. Like I understand it's we wore them for so long, the nostalgia of it, but it just feels like it's not bad. It just feels older. Like if I'm looking at something and I'm like, hey, I want something new and modern, those just feel old to me. And maybe I'm just associating them with older times, and especially some of the dark times. But
I think it's just tough when you're trying to look at a home jersey. Like we talked about, Cal, like there's not a lot of logos the Hurricanes can really go off of. It's either the warning flags or the main primary. Like I don't know what kind of difference you would really go with in terms of maybe a different logo in the front or a different look. I honestly, if they made the 25th anniversary jerseys their homes with the original Hurricanes logo, I think those would be instant number ones for a lot of people because that's what you see. That's what the 25th anniversary jerseys were. You saw how popular those things were. If those were the homes, I don't think people would have a lot of issue with it. And I still think they would look at the black thirds as a very close second to probably their favorite jerseys. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I am curious to see what everyone, what people would think is probably their best looking jerseys or what logo they like the best out of the three.
Yeah.
But
well, we'll see. And I'm excited to see it in person soon. I mean, it's already at the Eye, of course. Everyone can go and get it. Doug Worf was there talking about it, had his specialized kicks on,
those are so clean.
painted shoes. But yeah, go. I can't wait to see them at games, whether the players are wearing them, whether people have already purchased them and they've got them. Excited to see the customized ones. It's going to be fun. I love something new like that to start the season. It just gets everyone's like blood kind of pumping. Like you're like, all right, we're here. They're giving us new things. I mean, I'm already excited to see new merch that's going to be rolling into the Eye and everything. Of course, we got new players on the ice, new uniforms. It's a good time to be alive for a Carolina Hurricane fan. But speaking of players on the ice, on Kane's Corner, Rod, so he got a common question that we've talked about, a lot of other people have talked about, is that ever running away from us position of 2C. Of course, this offseason, because there weren't any really good choices to go for. We haven't really, like, I guess, quote unquote, addressed who's going to be the 2C. I mean, it's kind of fluctuates. And, you know, names were thrown into the mix. We had Jarvis thrown in there. We had Stankoven thrown out there. Just players that have played that before. Maybe we're like, let's give them a shot. Rod had something to say about that. Did you hear that interview, Zach?
Yes, I did actually. It took me a couple of days to get to it. Just been hectically busy with a bunch of other stuff going on, especially with a lot of the news that the Hurricanes have done since last week. But yeah, I heard it. It wasn't a lot of Canes talk. It was a lot of kind of like outside stuff. Maybe they did maybe like 15, 20 minutes of actual Canes talk, if that. But the fact that he talked about, like, he sees Seth Jarvis where he's at now on the wing, and that's why he even brought up Martin Nietzsche. Is like, yeah, he could play center, but I think he's better on the wing. That's why they never moved him there. I think of the fact that he loves where Seth is at, I think it makes sense to why you want to keep him over there. Plus, I think, too, with his shoulder, I just don't know if you want to have a guy whose shoulder's been kind of alienating him for the last couple of years. Do you want to put him through those rigors? He did bring up Logan Stankoven, and of course, he played center a lot more recently than Seth Jarvis has because he did do it with the Texas Stars and the Dallas Stars too. But he says he's more considerate of maybe going in that direction if they went in that direction. I think the if was a very loud, don't bet on this being a thing that's going to happen. So reading through the bringing between the lines, reading through the tea leaves, I would not be shocked if it's going to be Jesper Kotkaniemi making another run as the 2C again, and maybe they address this during the season because they have $10.64 million in cap space. Anything could happen between now and the trade deadline, but from what it seems like, Jarvis, Stank, get used to them being on the wings. That's kind of what the vibes I'm getting from Rod Brind'Amour. We talked to Adam Gold about all of that. Rich, what are your thoughts on what Rod talked about with the 2C situation?
I wasn't surprised because I think we're all in the camp of Rod Brind'Amour of when he said we like him where he is. I would agree. Like Jarvie excels out on the wing, and like there's no reason to screw that up. I am interested though if y'all think the same as me because that screamed I trust KK, which in the playoffs didn't seem to be that way, but I don't know if that's just based on the current situation you're in or what. But I think he's going to give Jesperi Kotkaniemi a real shot at 2C this year. And whether that's Svetch and Hall flanking him, who knows what lineup combinations he will come with. I think he's going to do everything to try to unlock AK. And who knows, like, can Svetch match playoff Svetch during the regular season? Because if he can do that, that makes KK look a lot better than he has otherwise. So not sure what your guys' thoughts are on that. That's where I stand on that. If he's going to give KK another shot on this.
I get that feeling a little bit too. I think it'll be really beneficial again if there's consistency on the wings with whoever's on 2C, especially if it's KK. I think a lot of it. So there was some consistency there for a while with Natchez on the wing. We had Natchez and Robbie. And then we had a little bit of the went a little cold, got a little switch up there, and then everything kind of started falling apart there. And you had to kind of see, okay, well, who's going to go into those positions? I think consistency will be a big factor. And I think now Rod is feeling very comfortable with who he has on the wings there to help whoever that is. Again, I don't need the center to be the big scoring person. Like, if they give assists and your wingers are popping off, I'm fine with that. That means you're doing your job and helping your line mates. So that's fine with me. What do you think, Zach?
I think it's fine. I think it's just, the thing with KK is like he's not going to be that guy you're looking at scoring like, putting up 50 points a season or close to 60. Like when a lot of people liked it when Vincent Trocheck was kind of the 2 seed. I think that's probably the last legitimate 2 seed the team has had was Tro there. But if he's putting up, low 40s, mid 40s, maybe even the upper 40 range of points and is more assists than anything else, I think that's fine. Because defensively, KK's got a good defensive side to his game. He knows how to throw good hits. He knows how to put his body on the line. Like defensively, he's great. It's just tough when you have Jordan Staal as the 3 seed. They're not going to move him off of that. Can't really put him at 4 seed because then he's just is not getting the minutes, and they're kind of like just lost in the weeds at that point. So I think if the wingers are going off and giving him the assists, because you look at 2 seasons ago, he could have led the league in true sheer assists because he was the 3rd guy on almost every goal, but he wasn't getting the points because unfortunately they don't do 3rd assist. So defensively, I think he's fine. Like you said, Kat, if he's got the wingers going off, if we get Svechnikov, who's supposed to be a guy who we're looking at 60 points plus again, like he was a couple seasons ago, or even 3 seasons ago, I think that'd be great to see him get back to around that range. And then if it's going to be Stankoven or Blake, I know some people mentioned Hall. I'm kind of curious to see because with Blake and Stankoven, you kind of want one of those 2 guys in the top 6. That might leave Hall going to the 4th. I know a lot of people don't like that, but where are you going to put them if you're having Stankoven and Svech up there, or Svech and Blake? But like I said, if KK gets the 2 guys to stick with him for pretty much a good majority of the season, we're not just shuffling the deck, I think KK could be a good second line center. It's just, can he stay consistent, and can his line mates stay consistent and not be streaky players all season like we've seen in the last couple of years?
Yeah, because he's got that size and defensiveness. That was the whole, I think, hold up also with maybe putting Nate just there. The defensive quality of that Rod wants in his centers was not going to be there. And the size maybe, but he didn't use his size the way KK does at times. So I fully agree.
Also, too, KK since joining the Hurricanes has been over 50% on faceoffs every single season. And we all know how much Rod loves his guys to win faceoffs. Having him at 50% all 4 years he's been with the Canes, I think that's why it's another big factor of why they really want to keep working with him, because it's tough to get guys in the 50s. And he got that with Aho, him, and Staal. That's a tough 1, 2, 3 to go through for any other team to be like, all right, who are we going to beat? Because all 3 of these guys are hitting 50% clips on their faceoff percentages in the dot.
It's a good problem to have, honestly. Trying to figure out who goes where, and you have that many people to where if you have to force Taylor Hall to the 4th line for a little bit,
it's not
good
a bad
problems.
thing.
Yes, good problems to have. Kat, tell me what else is a good problem to have that doesn't impact the Carolina Hurricanes but will impact every other team in the playoffs. It's good for the Canes.
Oh, the playoff salary cap.
Yeah.
So I love that they are. I was like, where are we going with this? Yeah. So the NHL and the NHLPA have agreed to a rolling implementation schedule for the CBA changes. Among them, the new playoff salary cap system will come into effect this season for the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs. For anyone that doesn't fully understand what that means, let me paint a picture for you. Going into last playoffs, of the last remaining 8 teams, 16, the last couple of teams in the playoffs, the Canes were the only ones that were salary cap under the salary cap. Everyone else was over it by a long haul. And the Canes were the only team competing and having a really good chance at competing for the Stanley Cup under that. So I feel like a lot of teams are going to be really seeing what it's like to actually, quote unquote, play by the rules.
And I'm kind of glad that they're like we're not gonna do it all at once. They're kind of like we're gonna slowly kind of implement them through the season going into next year, because I know a lot of the contract stuff's carrying to next September as well in terms of years and all that stuff as well. But yeah, when you're talking about playoff salary cap, it's crazy when you look at these teams that are like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a guy out, then we're gonna go add a bunch of dudes, and then we get our main guy back, and then you're like, oh well, this team is like 5 to 10 million over the cap, and you got these other teams who aren't. But that's why you see these teams being so loaded for the playoffs, because maybe they had a guy that was out. They were able to bring some guys into the trade deadline under cap compliant. Guy comes back. Playoffs. Oh, well, there's no salary cap in the playoffs, so we can have a team that's well over the salary cap limit. Now it's no, here's your 20 guys, and you have to stand under the salary cap. So now I feel like that the NHL sees that the LTIR was completely being abused. And they're like, no, we're going to keep it a level playing field, because we're not going to have these super juggernaut teams having all these guys. And then you're going to have teams who actually try to run by the rules or run by the actual cap. I mean, the other teams were playing by the rules because it was a loophole. It was there. And now they're like, no more loophole for you. Now we're going to be playing on an even field. And I see why they wanted to do that. And it's crazy when you look at it too. It was just the Canes. They were the only team under the cap. And that's why cap compliance for the Canes have always been top notch. And it's, can't say they're cheap when they're almost up to the cap every year, but they know how to find a way to stay under it. So I think it's a great rule that they're kind of slowly filtering it in with this playoff salary cap. Rich, how do you feel about it?
Man, I think a part of it, Gary wants a little bit of parity, because like you said, you get these super teams that just roll through the playoffs, and everyone sees through it as come on, we know what's coming here. Someone gets injured.
Oh, yeah.
There's an LTIR. Yeah. It's become a joke. So I think for the NHL and the NHLPA to recognize this is huge, and to implement it immediately is outstanding for the parity of the league and teams. And maybe this is my Carolina Hurricanes bias coming in. Like you said, this should help the Canes immensely, having been a team that has always been salary cap compliant. So you can't have these other teams coming in out of nowhere to load up. You have the chance now. It's your best guys that have been there all season. Go and do your best in the playoffs, because there's no help coming magically off the bench in middle of April, suddenly healthy.
Yeah,
your guys have to go and get it.
Right. And the thing is, I know a lot of people are like, well, hey, if you weren't cheating, you weren't doing it right, and all this other stuff. And like, oh, well, you're just crying about it. No, it's just if the NHL and the PA both see this as a possible issue, because guys are probably talking like, how come this guy's already back out of nowhere? He's been out for most of the season, all this other stuff. All of a sudden, he's good to go. And because you want some parity. And luckily, the NHL has had some parity in the past. But I think it's just when you look at the playoffs. And a lot of fans are like, yeah, if you're not using loophole, that's on you. But it's like, you can't just be able to go over so egregiously far over the cap going into the playoffs. And it's implementing a rule that should have been taken care of years ago, because there was one team that wanted to get rid of it, and that was Vegas. And they're like, all right, cool. Then if you don't want to, then we're going to show you how it's beneficial. And they did it. Florida did it too. And like I said, and hey, they played by the rules that were there. It is what it is. But now the NHL's like, sorry, we're just not going to be able to do that. And that's why you see there's no deferred money contracts are out the window. There's a salary cap thing that's going out. Like, the NHL is trying to find ways to make sure that, no, we are going to be a league that wants to try to keep it even across the board. We're not going to have all these different types of contracts or teams finding ways to do certain things where it's regular season. Is it 6 or 7 year deals now instead of 7 or 8? What's the playoff cap looking like? Like, no, we are going to try and make this, fair as possible, with still letting teams being able to do what they want, but we're not going to go egregiously out of, into a different realm of what we're looking at.
I mean, this is getting off topic, but it makes you wonder about, the McDavid contracts, the Eichel contracts, all the big ones that are due this upcoming season, and how that impacts them. And are they looking like, I can say with my team and win because there's no outside factors that may allow another team to, again, abuse the system. I trust my boys. we're going to ride together. Let's go get it. Or vice versa to that. Maybe they leave because they see they can join another team. And if they're there with X, Y, and Z players, they know that they have a very good chance of winning the cup. So it'll be interesting to see if that has any impact on some of these high profile upcoming free agents.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely change the landscape of like what these contracts look like, even with the cap going to at least $104 million next offseason. Like you said, McDavid's going to be available. You're going to have Kaprizov. You're going to have so many of these guys available next offseason, where we thought this offseason was going to be crazy, but next year's is absolutely more bonkers than what this past one was, because you got so many guys that are going to be available. But like you said, if there's a playoff salary cap, and if it's matching the regular season and you're doing 20 guys instead of the usual 23, like they're shrinking the roster size down. So it's like, you got to be compliant to 20 guys. I think that's definitely going to look very different of like, all right, who are you going to bring into the playoffs with you, and how much are you going to be paying certain guys? Because do you want to hit that realm of having one guy making $14-15 million, and then it's like, okay, then how are you going to fit the rest of all these contracts in when you got one guy making so much more than everyone else? And that's when you look at the Hurricanes. I mean, like, every player's under $10 million. It won't even matter how many guys the Hurricanes have fresh. Yeah, we have 23 now. Oh, you can get down to 20? Okay, that's fine. We have every one of our – like, we're right now, like I said, we're $10.64 million under the cap with 23 guys on the roster. Going down to 20 for the playoffs? Okay, fine. That's not that big of a deal. Like, it won't even matter at that point, because they're still going to be under cap compliant regardless. So I think it's good for the fact that you're kind of seeing that the league is kind of recognizing an issue that was partially getting abused. And it's not just being salty about it. It's just being, looking at it as you have to look at this unbiased, and you got to think critically of this. It just makes more sense to get rid of a rule that, like you said, everyone noticed it. If the PA is noticing this, that's really saying something. The NHL PA is like, no, we need to get this going now, because you're talking to all representatives of guys from all individual teams recognize this as a possible issue. That says a lot, honestly.
It's fantastic that the whole loophole is getting thrown out the window for the playoffs, which hopefully might end a little bit sooner than they were before.
Yeah.
Starting in the 26-27 season. The regular season set to start at the end of September, and the cup to be awarded at the latest mid-June. And then obviously that comes with the shortened preseason and regular season being extended to 84 games. Thoughts on that, Zach?
I think it's great, honestly, because, Rich, I mean, we remember 2 seasons ago, like, what was it? Like, you had the Stanley Cup final Monday, you had the draft, like, Friday, and then that following Monday is instantly free agency. Like, that was a stupidly tight window to hit. So, like, you basically gave no one a break to relax, because it was instantly Cup winner, here's your draft, here's free agency. Like, guys are still celebrating the Cup that they won a week ago, and some of them are on a different team at that point. Like, that. And even, like, yeah, this past offseason wasn't as bad, but I love for the fact that the NHL is like, okay, we might need to give somewhat of a break here for all these teams to go right from a Cup final straight into a draft and free agency. So I'm glad that they are like, no, we're not going to extend this way to the end of June, almost hitting July. Like, that's insane. Yeah, you're getting a little bit of an earlier start. Now we're not waiting to like the second week of October. We're doing like end of September. Great, everyone's ready to go. You're getting a little bit of an earlier start. Less preseason games. We don't need 6 preseason hockey games. Like, we don't really need that many games. Like, it's not that big of a deal. 6 is too much. I think you want to do 2 home and 2 home and home with everyone. No, do 4. It's fine. It's not that serious. And honestly, adding 2 more regular season games, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not that much of an increase. And it's divisional games. Like, this year we have, I think, the Rangers and the Capitals, maybe 3. I forget who it is. I know we have 2 teams this year, 3 times each, and everyone else is 4. Now it's 4 across the board. You see everyone the same in your division. There's really not much of a difference. It's 2 extra games. Obviously, it's going to be spread out. Now, like I said, you're going from end of September, mid-June. Nothing's very much changing. I like the season starting a little bit sooner. It's getting done a little bit sooner. And yeah, you're adding 2 more. Okay, great. We have 2 more hockey games to watch. Fantastic. Like, it's the same number if with the preseason where it was now in the regular season. It's the same number of games. It's just the number difference is just by a 2-game mark. Like, how do you feel about it, Rich?
I think it's similar to the NFL where like guys aren't even playing in the preseason.
Right.
It's more so for your depth and tryout players and to get to know the entirety of your team rather than your stars getting their reps because they're getting them all in practice in the different situations the coaches are putting them in throughout practice. So I see it in a very, very similar sense of that of you do not need as many preseason games because your top players aren't even playing. So add the couple more games because this year Cap's only come into town once. So it'd be nice to see your divisional opponents twice, home and away, and just overall, I think it fits the scheduling better with the season starting when it does. Gets the fans more involved, just being able to get in just a little bit earlier. I think that helps with everyone. So overall, a good fit. The one small change, I don't know how condensed you'd have to make the schedule. I would love to see the Stanley Cup awarded by the end of May if possible, but logistically, I don't know how tight that would make traveling and stadium logistics. That would be my one potential change to that. But that's why I'm not in the NHL office. I'm just talking about it.
No, for sure. Like you said, man, it's because we look at preseason games. Not all of the vets, the star players. Not a lot of those guys are going on those road trips. It's a lot of the I know we're going to talk about later with the PTO guys and stuff like that, or the rookies, or guys a little farther down on the depth chart. Those are the guys that go on the road trip games, and you might have to sprinkle a few veterans in because you need the bodies. Now you're short in the preseason a little bit. Now you're gonna have to worry about having to figure out your rosters and stuff like that. I think it's fine. I think they did a good job with it. I'm not too worried about it. I think they did. I think the NHL is doing the right thing here. Short in the preseason, don't have to worry about having to worry about all these other things, and you get a couple more games. Okay, and it's more stretched out. I think it's fine. I think we're going to get a little bit more regular season hockey, and we're going to have to worry about and less opportunities for guys to get hurt in the preseason. So I think it's fine. I think they did a good job with it. It's addressing another thing that was highly unnecessary. There was no reason for 6 Remember when they did some teams had 7 or 8 preseason games, even 9? I'm like, that's just way too much, man. It's not that serious. Come on. You should know your roster by that point.
Yeah, that's certainly not needed. I think overall the NHL did a great job with their new CBA, both in just how fast they got it together and with everything they are implementing with it. All seems to be positive changes coming out of the new CBA and all those changes.
A lot better than the MLB, that's for sure. I know we're looking down a barrel of a lockout there, so I'm glad that the NHL is kind of we've already got 2 out. We've already gotten 2 of those already done. We're not looking for a third. So, yeah, thank goodness the CBA kind of went quicker and a lot easier than in the past. So, good on the PA and the league to nip that in the bud. And now we don't have to worry about hockey being shut down for the next few seasons. So,
yeah, we are thankful for the CBA to be extended, and we're also thankful for our sponsors. We'll throw it over to some ads real quick, and we'll be right back here on the SurgeCast. Back, and hey, NFL fans, Week 1 is your shot to play free and stack $1 million cash bag with DraftKings Pick 6, an official partner of the NFL. Here's how. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, DraftKings' easiest way to play fantasy. Enter for free and pick more or less on 6 player stats for Week 1. For example, we have Joe Burrow, more or less than 267.5 passing yards. Also, Trevor Lawrence, more or less than 243.5 passing yards. Share your link with friends to add more cash to the bag and get bonus shots to win. Hit all 6 picks and you'll be splitting a bag that's already at $1 million or more. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, use code THPN, opt in for free, and start stacking entries for NFL Week 1. Zero cost, huge upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-97-777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. Must claim token for free entry in Bag Builder contest. Only perfect entries earn share of cash prize. Tokens are single use and expire September 8th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Shoot the damn puck. Doesn't matter what level of hockey you've been watching. You've all said this phrase before, and now is your chance to get in on the merch. Go to thesurgecast.myshopify.com. You can get in on the rope hat, or like Kat's wearing in this episode, we also have the dad hat available as well. So make sure you get in on the action. Make sure you get the merch. Hockey season's right around the corner. So make sure to rock your favorite phrase. Shoot the damn puck hats, now available. The Carolina Hurricanes have recently released their new road uniforms, and you can get them on the NHL Shop. Here at the SurgeCast, we are an affiliate of the NHL Shop. So go ahead to nhlshop.775j.net/JEZ6B6. That'll take you directly to our NHL Shop affiliate link. We can go ahead and purchase any and all of the new Carolina Hurricanes road jerseys. Make sure you go ahead and get the new swag with the Carolina Hurricanes and their new road uniforms available through the SurgeCast and the NHL Shop affiliate link.
All right. And we're back. It's wonderful. Thank you to all of our great sponsors, because that keeps us functioning and getting to talk hockey with all of you. The Hockey Podcast Network makes that extra possible for us to be here talking in the wonderful sport of hockey. And also, if you haven't seen yet, but Shoot the Damn Puck, our new merch, please go check it out. I mean, listen, if you don't yell that during a hockey game, are you actually a hockey fan? I don't know.
I've said it. You've said it. We've all said it at some point in time while watching
Your mom said
hockey.
it. Your dad said it. I'm sure Moose's kids have said it. I mean, like, you never know. So
Probably, yeah, probably. Well, we know the Warrens have. We know, Alex and Kaylee probably have for sure. So we're very much covered. We're very much covered here.
So thanks to the wonderful paid intern for making this very fun product for everyone to start the new hockey season off right and just shoot the damn puck. But anyway, I'll be yelling shoot the damn puck because I'll be yelling it over the ESPN announcers as we look into these national TV scheduled games. Because I don't know about you, but I either keep the volume pretty low. Some people turn on Mike and Shane on the radio. It's however you want to cope when the Canes are on national television. But looking at those, starting in October, on October 9th is going to be the first national television scheduled game. It's going to be against New Jersey at 7:30 p.m. Love it. Starting off strong.
Yeah, no, not bad at all. I know we're talking about 7 ESPN Plus games, 3 on TNT. I think they said 5 of the 7 games at home are going to be schedule changed. So just make sure to keep your eye on if it's 7:30 starts, stuff like that. We do have a 1:30 game against Buffalo for Kids Day, and of course they're in Minnesota for one of them, and it's a 9:30 start. But either way, hey, 10 national TV games. I know the Hurricanes record on national TV isn't the greatest, but it's so cool to see the guys being on the national stage. And it should be, very interesting to see how it works out. But, a lot of familiar faces with some of the division teams. And, again, some, sprinkles of, Western Conference teams and stuff like that too. So, hey, it's cool that we get some national TV games at least. And it's ESPN Plus and on TNT. So we get a nice little mix of who's doing those coverages. And I'm kind of curious to see who the Hurricanes do get when it comes to their, broadcast crews for these.
It is interesting that they decided to just throw the Canes on ESPN Plus and not a hard ESPN or ABC. But we all know that ESPN also does not like the Canes as well. So a few surprises there. TNT at the Garden, also not a surprise. I would imagine that Monday, January 19th game versus Buffalo, with it being the 1:30 start, they're going to have just a whole list of games going on that day. So hockey on hockey on hockey. But luckily, only 10 of the games are nationally televised, because the rest of the time we get Trip, we get Mike, which in that same interview that Rod Brind'Amour had on with Adam Gold, Rod's exact quote on Trip, like, you listen to some of these guys do, and it's not great, but then his exact quote on Trip, I listen to him do a game, it's fun. The games are fun. And ain't that right when you listen to Trip Tracy call a game? And sometimes you got to have Mike reel him in a little bit. It's amazing.
It's not even him calling, it's the stories he tells, and then Mike trying to stay focused to call the game.
Yeah.
So it's never a dull moment with our broadcast crew. The only surprise for me is I'm a little surprised we don't have a national game against Washington. I don't know. I just feel like that's a pretty common one that we've had before. And we don't. So I'm a little surprised about that, but
we do have Columbus twice, funny enough.
We do have Columbus twice. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Again, starting off strong, we got that ESPN Plus. So, starting off strong with those New Jersey Devils, we will have some PK Subban talking loudly in our ears about how the Canes are ranked below everyone else. But either way, it'll be fun. I hope the boys show out. A lot of the talk is going to be the great contracts we have on our team, the signing of Ehlers, how we're performing at the time. It's going to be really interesting. So honestly, start the drinking games for whenever they mispronounce Fetchkov's name now. But while we talk about the national TV schedule, we also need to pay note to the signings and prospects showcase. And I'm going to let Zach take the floor on that one.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, no surprising, it's Ivan Rybkin getting the signing done for the Carolina Hurricanes. Basic ELC, all that good stuff. But it's honestly not a bad contract when you kind of look at it for him. The fact that there is a slight increase over the 3 years if he plays in the NHL. So this upcoming season, $775,000, $850,000 in 26-27, and then $895,000 in the 27-28 season. But his AHL contract, it's $85,000 all 3 seasons, but it is combined with a $235,000 signing bonus. So he's going to get some signing bonus money, which is really cool to have. And then, of course, like you said, he does get that combination of what his AHL contract looks like, along with his AHL part of that as well. So it's good you see the second overall pick get his contract in. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised that he fell out of the first round. Boom, you sign him, take care of that, and now you're kind of the idea of, hey, maybe we'll see him in Chicago next year in the AHL at least. So there is a good indication that you're going to see him at least on it in the stage within the organization of the Hurricanes, especially after winning the Clark Cup with the Muskegon Lumberjacks last season of the USHL. So overall, great signing. Nothing to complain about with that.
Yeah, to chip in here, I remember draft analysts saying, of course the Hurricanes got him. Just a guy that you bet on the upside. And that's what everyone talked about. So maybe not during his time with the ELC, but certainly on that second contract, depending on what the roster looks like, with the potential retirement departure of Jordan Staal in 2 years, like, who knows what comes up with your center, maybe another winger, your bottom six. Like, from everything I've heard, the upside on this guy is huge. So kind of a stash and grab type of guy. Keep him in Chicago for a few years, let him develop. But all reports are people were shocked that the Canes landed him at pick 62. So excited to see what he can do.
They also weren't surprised that we picked him because he's Russian.
Definitely not surprised there. But yeah, I mean, he's 18. You look at his stats last year, over 30 points in 27 regular season games, so like 16 playoff points in 14 games in the postseason. Yeah, like NHL Shop is already ready to go. And he definitely adds to the center depth of the Canes definitely needed the organization because you got Aho, Kotkaniemi, Stahl, Jankowski, Jost, then you're going down to Ryan Suzuki, and then Ivan Rybkin. what does that really tell you? So I think, yeah, you're adding a center that you probably really need. Got a good shot. Give him, like you said, Rich, give him a few years to develop when in Chicago. And hey, when you got Cam Abbott as your head coach and his staff that's on there, and they've done a pretty good job so far with getting their guys that have come up recently, Justin Robidas, Bradley Nadeau, Suzuki, when he did come up as well, the defensive guys with Stillman and all of them. Yeah, they know how to develop those guys in Chicago to be ready. So, yeah, give them, end of the ELC or the next contract. I think Ryan will be ready to go whenever that time's there to call him up. So honestly, great deal, and putting him in a good environment to learn under the staff that's in Chicago.
Yeah, there's always good things going in the future for the Canes.
Yeah, being able to maybe watch a little, depending on how much the prospect showcase is streamed this year, to jump ship onto the whole prospect showcase itself. That's coming up in less than double-digit days, starting on Friday, September 12th. Like, we have Canes hockey next week, even though it's just a showcase. That's crazy to think about. Obviously, star of the show will be none other than Canes top prospect Bradley Nadeau. But as we mentioned, Rybkin's on there. Zach, who else are we looking at as some guys that you want to get some eyeballs on, even just for a couple of games?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the good thing is, like I said, it's going to be streamed. I think Sunday the 14th is the only day you're not going to have a game. It's going to be practice day. But the Hurricanes are playing 2 o'clock on Friday, Saturday. Monday it's at 3 o'clock start. They're playing Nashville, Florida, and the host Tampa Bay Lightning at their area. But, yeah, guys to keep an eye on. Obviously, you said, Rich, you got Brian Lindell, you got Ivan Rybkin. Hey, you also got Dominic Pindica, one of their top defensive prospects. He's going to be there. Charles Alexis Legault is someone to keep an eye on. Gleb Triksov is going to be there, another great forward that the fans should definitely keep an eye on. Alexei Himosami is going to be there, along with Justin Robidas. Like I said, we had talked about Unger Storm a little bit as well. But another guy that I'm excited for, Philip Ekberg of the 67s. He just actually as of recording, he was first-line right wing for the 67s in their preseason game against North Bay. Another guy you want to keep an eye on. He was supposed to be a 4th-round draft pick, made it to 221. This guy is a cerebral assassin on the offensive side of his game. A really good winger, Swedish. The Hurricanes haven't had a lot of Swedish wingers. Now you got Unger Storm, and now you got Ekberg. I think Ekberg's going to surprise a lot of people. Yeah, so there's a lot of guys to keep an eye on, at least for the player side of things. How about goaltending? German netminder Nikita Kwap, who they just signed recently this offseason, he's coming in. And then you also got Ruslan Kayasev. I think these are the two guys you might see with the Greensboro Gargoyles of the ECHL next season, which isn't a bad thing because now you got depth across the board for goaltending. But having those two guys that you might be seeing in Greensboro very soon being part of your prospect showcase roster, there's a lot of guys to keep an eye on in terms of those high-end, here's your top 5 guys. You got some other guys down there too, but there is a laundry list of guys to keep an eye on as well. And someone I didn't even mention, Joel Nystrom is going to be there too, another Swede defenseman. Someone to keep an eye on for the fact of, how good of a season that he had, putting up, 27 points, them being 21 assists in the, like I said, in the SHL, the Swedish Hockey League. So a lot of good prospects to keep an eye on for the showcase between the 12th and the 15th. Very close to Hurricanes hockey. And it's going to be fun to see what these guys can do on the ice against the other top prospects for Tampa, Florida, and also Nashville.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, they'll kind of get thrown into the mix a little bit, sprinkled in with a couple of dudes that we signed to some professional tryout contracts, a little PTO action. Before I botch more names, I'm just still going to give it a go. Kylington.
It's Oliver Shillington. And yeah,
Shillington. We are batting 1,000 this episode.
And Giovanni Smith. And yeah, it's Oliver Shillington and Giovanni Smith. Yeah, both these guys played for Chicago last year. They had other teams they kind of played for. I know a lot of people were kind of questioning, are they going to, what are these guys going to do and stuff like that? Are they going to make the main roster? And I even tweeted this out when it came out, guys, it's PTOs. 99.9% of this roster is set. They just need bodies for the preseason and for training camp. If anything, it's maybe going to Chicago to help the Wolves out. In terms of the Hurricanes roster, I just don't expect these guys to come in because the roster's set. Like, you got Mike Riley as a seventh defenseman. You're already going to have probably Jost be a healthy scratch. Maybe you're looking at Jankowski or William Carey as well, adding another guy. Like, the roster's pretty much they're already at 23 players with an extra seventh defenseman, 2 extra forwards, and your 2 goalies and everyone else. I would just kind of take this as they just need bodies for preseason. If they sign, great. It might be a Chicago at some extra depth at best. I just don't see these guys cracking the roster for the Canes.
Yeah, I don't see them cracking in over the guys that we already have lined up, especially the extra guys we already have, like you said, like with Carrier, with Jankowski, with Joe, like guys that have already proved they can be the extra and they fit well into the roster already. I mean, this is just giving a shot to some other guys that like, hey, we can. It's a PTO, like try it out, but if it doesn't work, doesn't work. It's more on the leaning towards not working out than a guaranteed thing. So it's like a once in a blue moon sort of thing when players like this make it. I think I wouldn't be worried about it. They're interesting, but I mean, it's always interesting when whoever's on the PTO comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that we've got the little housekeeping out of the way, last segment that we need to get into, because even though hockey starts next week, it is still the off season currently. So we got to predict who we think the Canes' top goal scorers and leaders in assists are going to be this year. The way it's going to work, we're each going to work our way from 5 up to 1, and we're going to start with our goal scorers to alleviate the pressure, specifically off of Kat. I will start at number 5. And then we'll go, all of us do 5, all of us do 4, onto 1, and then we will have our conversation. I think you guys know who I'm going to start with. My dog, number 5 goal scorer for the 25-26 season. Everyone doubted him, even making this team last year. Everyone's doubting him going into this year. Jackson Blake. I think JB performs incredibly. Number 5 goal scorer this year. Zach, who do you have as your number 5 goal scorer in 25-26?
Oh, this will be very interesting for me. I am going to go Logan Stankoven as my number 5 goal scorer for the Canes this season.
Why?
I just think with the fact that you get Logan Stankoven for a full season with the Hurricanes, I think he had 14 goals last year, split between 2 teams. You know, he was used very much differently with the Stars. Came into the Hurricanes, kind of was up and down the roster. I think you put him in a good spot with the Hurricanes roster. Give him a full season with this team. I think we're going to see an uptick in his goal total. I think he will probably hit right around the number 5 spot because Jackson Blake to give Rich his credit, was 5th on the team in goal scoring with 17, and Stank was 3 behind. So if there's someone that could maybe take that step to hit that number again or maybe hit 20, I think Stankoven could probably do it because he's got a full season with the Canes this upcoming season, which would be his first season in the league with one team and not getting either called up or traded.
That's fair. I'm torn on my pick, but I think I know who I want to do. So Blake was an option, but there's another guy that we got kind of later into the season that I think could also kind of be up there. Is I think if you give him some consistency, and it kind of depends where he goes in the lineup, I think, but I think Taylor Hall might be up there as number 5 for me. When he had he flourished for quite a bit when everyone was, focusing on who shall not be named.
Voldemort?
And so I don't know. I have a feeling that if you get him, especially with his veteran presence, that Hall can sneak up there and be one of your top, not the top, but kind of pretty good up there because he's good at assisting, but he's got that, shoot first, find the back of the net mentality.
I mean, he did finish 4th on the team in goal scoring courses with 2 different teams, but for a season overall, he was 4th on the Canes in goal scoring. So makes sense. Rich, who's your number 4?
4, one Andrei Svechnikov. I don't know if he hits that 40 mark that Mike wants him to get to, but I still think he has a great year. I think he rides the momentum from his playoff performance into next season. Like we said, the lines have only gotten better, the forward pairing, so he should be with more talent. Like if he is on that second line with KK and Taylor Hall, and you have Taylor Hall performing more closer to his MVP level than not, potentially just being a savvy veteran, I think Svech can do quite a bit of damage in the goal scoring department this season. Zach.
I'm going Jackson Blake as 4. Like I talked with Logan Stankoven, he had 17 goals in his rookie season, all with the Hurricanes. He did kind of start on the third line, went down to the 4th, went to the 2nd, played a lot in the 1st. For the back half, I think it depends on if they're going to put him on the 2nd line or the 3rd line, depending on where they want to put Stank on the reverse end of that. But I think with he's got his first season under his belt. He knows what it's like to play as a pro. He got that extension already locked up. He doesn't have to worry about anything in his last year of his ELC. I think he's just going to take that next step. And he's like, okay, I know I'm good here. I know I'm established. I can prove that I can score. We might see just an increase in his goal scoring. So I could see 20 to 25. So give me Stank at 5. Give me Blaker at 4.
Right on. Love the JB love. Kat,
I feel like
who are you counting?
Well, I feel like I painted myself into a hole because then I thought back, like going from 5 to 1, I thought of other ones I would name, and there's ones that I want to put up there, but now I have to decipher through them. So yes, I might have messed myself up already. 4, I'm gonna go Svechnikov. I just see some of the other guys. If he keeps how he was going in playoffs, I could see him go higher. But I just see some of the other guys were a little bit more consistent throughout the season. There's 2 that I'm definitely seeing as the top 2. So is a toss up where I would put Svech, but right now 4 feels like his spot to me. I want him to be higher than that though. Like everyone wants him to be higher than that.
Based on the contract, I think we would all agree on that. But speaking guys with bigger contracts, we have, for me at number 3, Seth Jarvis. Jarvie, even with the shoulder, he's still going to be a dog. He's always going to be a dog. And especially, hopefully, if he's on that top line with the guys who I think are going to be on that top line, they're all going to do some damage up there. That's my number 3 goal scorer this year. Zach, who you got at 3?
Give me one Nikolai Ehlers in the number 3 spot for the Canes. I mean, yeah, he played 16 games last year, did get hurt at the end, but I mean, his goal scoring is off the charts. Put him in that top line with Aho at least, and if he gets Jarvis too, I think he's definitely going to take it to the next level. Because how are you going to stop all 3 of those guys? Yeah, I think Ehlers is going to pop off. He's going to fit well with this team. Give me Ehlers at number 3. You feel good when you got a Dane in the top 3 in terms of goal, and at least scoring the goal, putting the puck in the net.
So you can tell Kat has done a research.
Leave me alone. See, this was a toss-up for me. I'm going Jarvis. I kind of have him. I would say him and Stankoven are a little tied for me. I can see them having very similar seasons, just because of the way they play, and it just depends on the role that Stank gets given. Is he going to be on the line with the Jordans? Because that line you've also seen, while they get some production, it's not the same as being on the 1 or 2, if you call it listed lines, not really like actual lines, because it's a different way the line plays. So I'm going to say Jarvis here, but I could see easily Stankoven could slide into this role too. Again, they play so similar. They both have that dog in them, but Jarvis is my number 3.
Okay. Don't have to repeat too much for me at number 2. At number 2, I have Ehlers for all the reasons Zach listed, like, that line should be unstoppable. That line is going to be so much fun to watch. Just the speed he brings is going to add a whole other element to that line, to this team as a whole. I'm excited to see what Nick Ehlers is going to do on this team and the offense he is going to bring, both 5-on-5 and the power play. Zach, who you got at 2?
Give me 1 Sebastian Aho. I think the fact you get Ehlers on the wing, if he's going to get Jarvis on the other wing as well, having those 2 fast guys and then putting the goals in, I think you'll still see him finish second in goal scoring like he did this past season. I think you're going to see probably an uptick more of his assists, which we will talk about soon. That being said, I don't think he's going to lead the team in goal scoring, but he'll definitely be in the number 2. I would say probably 3rd at worst. And I put worst in quotes because, I mean, if you're still top 3 in goal scoring for the Canes, you're doing your job. So I can see him being as low as 3, but I think him being at 2 is a perfect sweet spot for him with the guys he's probably going to have on the wing. So give me Sebastian Aho at number 2 in terms of goals for the Canes.
I'm just echoing it's good Ehlers on this one. And I feel like me and Rich have the same number 1.
You're so original, Kat. No, we just have the same.
Oh my gosh.
No, we just changed JB and Hall at 5, and looks like we're rocking the same list. We just think alike. That's why we love each other so much.
What's really funny is you can make fun of me all you want, but I've been thinking about my list during this time, and I haven't even really been fully listening to you. So it's not like I was copying you on purpose. Like I was just going through what who's your number 1? I never agree with Zach, so that makes sense.
My number 1, Zach, is your number 2, which in the past episode, my bold prediction for the season is that Sebastian Aho is going to be in the top 10 in the league in scoring. So with that said, I'm having Sebastian Aho as my number 1 goal scorer for the Carolina Hurricanes. And like we have said already, that with all the guys on that front, on that very first line, that's going to be dangerous. They're such good players. They are going to bring the best out of each other if Rod keeps that line together throughout the entire season. They are going to be monsters offensively, bringing much needed offense to a Canes team that at times, while getting pucks on net, cannot find the back of the net. I think they're going to be able to do that quite a bit this season with that top line.
No, totally fair. My number 1, give me Seth Jarvis, man. Back-to-back seasons. He had 33 the season before, 32 this past season. It doesn't matter what line he's on. First, scores goals. Third, scores goals. Power play, scores goals. Oh, and the PK also scores goals. I mean, led the team in shorties, was second in the entire league in shorthanded goals last year, led the team in goals and in points in the playoffs. Dude's a goal scorer wherever you put him on the line. It doesn't matter. I think he's gonna get 35 this season. Maybe we're maybe we're flirting with 40 for Seth. So give me 1 Seth Jarvis at the top spot for scoring goals for the Canes.
All right, so on to assists.
We got a 1, Cat. Say it.
Who do you think?
Say it like Wade.
Sebastian. Oh.
There we go. Hockey's back almost.
Yes. All right, Zach, who do you got for 5 for assists?
See, this is where it's going to be very interesting for me in terms of assists because you had a lot of guys kind of cramped around the number 4 to 7. I mean, you got Svechnikov, Hall, Stankoven, Stahl, stuff like that. I will say for number 5, when it comes to assists, give me Andrei Svechnikov. Svechnikov.
All right, Rich.
This one might be a little bit shocking, but I have faith in my guys. And Alexander Nikishin, one of my guys, I think he is going to just drive that second power play unit. I think Rod puts him out there. And then just offensively as the weapon he's going to be from that blue line, whether he's the one scoring goals, whether he's getting tip-ins, guys are going to score goals on behalf of Alexander Nikishin one way or another. We mentioned it in the previous episode, like he was one of the top players in the KHL for a reason. He is going to be a monster. I think he does great this season. Again, defensively, you have to figure out the system, but offensively, it's going to click for him. The shot he has, my God, that's a beauty to watch in person. Alexander Nikishin, number 5 in assists for your 25-26 games. Bet you don't have that one, Kat.
No, I didn't have Nikishin because I was trying to think. I didn't know if I would have him for assists or not. I'm actually going to have for number 5 go a little bit different. I'm gonna put Slavo up there. He's a little sneaky with the assists. But I think he's gonna have a little bit. I think his role will change just a little bit because he has a different partner. And you could see towards the end of last season he was really starting to fire the puck. So give me Slavo.
On that, it will be nice for Slavin to be a little bit more involved offensively and not having to worry about getting back as much on defense because his partner is going to be able to skate. I could say
Zach,
that now.
Number 4.
Number 4, give me Nikolai Ehlers at the number 4 spot. We talked about with the other guys who could put up assists. I think he's going to get a lot, especially with the line mates he has. I think goals and assists wise, you're looking at a huge season for him. So give me Ehlers at number 4.
I'm staying on the blue line for my number 4. Talked about the power play, hopefully getting unlocked this season. Talked about hopefully the second power play with Nikishin. So moving on to your first power play unit, Shane Gostisbehere, number 4 in assists. Just the way he'll be able to quarterback that power play and then just what he can do 5-on-5 as well for similar reasons for Nikishin. Hopefully the Canes can get the power play going much more than they did last year. I'm kind of putting a lot of faith in that in these predictions. But if they can, I'm putting Ghost up there at my number 4 spot.
I have Ghost later. I didn't have him this low. I'm actually going to put Blake here at 4. Because he was really starting to, again, when you start getting a little snake bit yourself, you start really producing for other people. I think Blake's going to pop off here as well, because again, it's going to be his sophomore season. So in case he gets a little bit of the snake bite, I mean, it hit Jarvis, it's hit KK, it's hit Svetch, it's hit everyone at some point. I think he'll make up for it with his assists because he still is very creative with the puck and he still, he has no fear. So give me some Blake.
Right on. Number 3, Zach.
Give me Seth Jarvis at number 3 for the assists. He put up a lot of good assists last year for the Canes, looking at 35, which was a new career high. I still think he's going to get around that mark again. Maybe it's a little bit north of that, maybe closer to 40. But I think overall you're getting a guy who's just a spark plug wherever he's at. Doesn't matter what line he's on, what situation he's in. I just have a good feeling that we're going to see a monster season from Seth. So, talk about first and goal scoring. Give me number 3 on the assist markers for Seth.
I think from here on out, it's very consistent of just us talking about that first line primarily, because I'm right on board in terms of the first line. I'm going Ehlers here. Again, if that first line clicks the way it should with Ehlers, Aho, Jarvis, they're going to do monster numbers.
Going third always sounds like I'm copying you. It's going to be a toss-up at 3 and 2. I don't think there's going to be a hard differential here. I think I'm going to say Ehlers here. But I think him and my next pick spoiler alert, Jarvis, I don't think there's going to be a very clear line between the two. Like, I think they're going to be neck and neck for 2 and 3.
Well, I'll skip ahead to mine real quick because I'm copying you now. I also have Jarvie at number 2 for the reasons we've listed for the first line. Zach, where are you at?
Aho
number 2. Okay.
Aho's a 2. Mm-hmm.
Zach, who's your number 1?
Yeah. I'm interested in this one.
Are you interested in my number 1?
Yeah.
Give me Shane Gostisbehere.
Oh, Ghost at 1. Okay.
I mean, when you look at him last year, he had 38, which was only 7 off of Aho. And think about this, too. He played in 9 fewer games. So stays healthy, kills on the power play a little bit, kind of gets more unlocked in terms of his ice time on the 5-on-5, depending on who he's going to be. He's probably going to be paired with Walker, but whoever his forwards are, I think he might hit that number a little bit more. Like I said, he was on a streak before he got hurt. Like I said, it's only 7 off of Aho. Who's to say he can't get the number 1 spot when it comes to the assist marker? So yeah, give me Ghost at the number 1 spot.
It's fair.
Ready, Cat, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sebastian.
I'm gonna let everyone hear you say that. So my thing is, because it feels wrong to have Ghost not on my list. But that's kind of my thing is I feel like Ehlers and Jarvis will be so neck and neck there that I think Ghost will either slot, like I'd almost count them as the same, and then I'd slot in Ghost before or after them because I feel like he'll either be right behind them or he'll be a little above them. So like it's such a toss up with it. Like everyone's so consistent. Again, that's the double-edged sword of the Canes is that you don't really have. It's not like you've got like a player like McDavid whose stats are like way up here, and then and then you have like one of their ass defenders way down here. Like everyone's pretty equal, like pretty there in the level ground, and some guys will pop up a little bit because they have to be. They're your star players, but it's still like you've created a roster and the way the team plays that it's so consistently good. Like there's not like a big up and down. You don't have big hills, you don't have big valleys. Occasionally I think like the biggest discrepancy is sometimes some guys defensiveness. But with Rod Brind'Amour as your coach, that won't stay a negative for long. Either it improves or you don't stay on the team. So I think our list, I like that it was hard to make these lists. Again, I will always say there's been years past where these lists are very easy to make, at least the top. Well, no, instead here where they're all fighting for the top 3 spots, there's been times in Canes past where they're all fighting for 5th. So I would much rather this excess than previously. But let us know what you guys think. Who you think are going to be the top goal scorers, the top assisters. It's going to be a fun season. Thanks so much for sticking around with us. I do want to note one more thing. If you're not watching the showcase on the 12th, I do need to make a note because, oh my gosh, it is September now. You've also got the Durham Bulls games for the Carolina Hurricanes. The collaboration game will be happening on September 12th as well. So highly encourage people to go and enjoy that as well. They've got their own jersey of sorts. I highly recommend if you're not getting the new Canes jersey, check that one out. Little difference in price. But yeah, either way, go and support the Canes. Things are starting to ramp up. There's also the fun Martinook event coming up shortly as well. Guys, it's hockey season. There's so many things happening. I can't wait for all the events, all the preseason. The Canes 5K is also a thing. It's just nonstop. We've gotten through the hot summer. It's starting to cool down a little bit, meaning, hey, it's like the wisps of the ice coming off and telling us, hey, hockey's back. So for all of us here at the SurgeCast, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll talk to you next week on the SurgeCast. See you later, guys.